वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो 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 भगवते वासुदेवाय।
भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो 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 भगवते वासुदेवाय। भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो 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 भगवते वासुदेवाय। भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Greetings from Ashtanga Yoga Mandir, Sri Lanka and Vishnu Mohan Foundation, India. Thank you for joining the 7th session of the Dhayana meditation series. Today's discourse is on Japa, Kirtan and Ishwara Pranidana, effective tools of meditation conducted by His Holiness Sri Hari Prasad, Managing Trustee of Sri Vishnu Mohan Foundation, India. It is of utmost importance to state that His Holiness was instrumental in initiating this program and assisted us greatly in terms of sourcing resource personnel in a variety of disciplines, namely including Dr. Anne Escreda, Said Sajar Ali, Matthew Anthony G, Sri Antresh Tatia G. Before we proceed, there are a few important points that needs to be adhered to or noted by the audience. Please keep your microphones muted during the session. Please note that questions can only be raised through chat. Please switch on your video as a mark of respect. If this cannot be accommodated, do inform us in advance. Access of any account which creates undue disruption during the program intentionally or unintentionally will be revoked and thus will not be able to attend the session. To welcome His Holiness, I'd like to invite a beloved senior instructress of AYM, Mrs. Srimati Sadish Kumar, who is fondly known as Premi to many. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Namaskaram to all. Good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a beautiful week, and heading to that beautiful week, Ashtanga Yoga Mandir is privileged to introduce our speaker tonight. His Holiness Sri Hariprasad Swamiji, Namaskaram. He is not new to many of us. He is part of the Ashtanga Yoga Mandir family, having graced us with his knowledge once before. For the new members, His Holiness Sri Hariprasad Swamiji is the founder of the Vishnu Mohan Foundation. At the age of 9, after reading a book on renunciation by the Buddhist Lama, he decided to take to the spiritual life. At 13, he began his spiritual journey. It has been 45 years of hard work and joy. For 13 years, he spent hours in meditation, chanting, and silence. He then spent 24 years in very actively serving the Guru, and after that has been actively teaching the divine way. Swamiji has studied Vedanta for 35 years. He is a follower of Holiness Sri Sadguru Swami Jnanananda Saraswati of Sri Jnana Advaita Peedam. His Holiness Sri Hariprasad Swamiji has led a life of strict discipline, rigorous reading, and seva. Swamiji is a regular contributor to various spiritual magazines and journals and religious literatures. His Holiness Sri Hariprasad Swami is also a regular speaker at several public forums, prestigious institutions, and university departments. Swami is devoted to peace and interfaith dialogue. The Vishnu Mohan Foundation conducts a peace and reconciliation conference where every year, and a number of peace initiatives and programs on transcending violence. We are pleased and extremely honored to have His Holiness Swami Sri Hariprasad Ji here with us today to enlighten us on effective tools for meditation. I'm sure everyone here is eagerly waiting to hear his words on this topic. Let's put our palms together in Anjali Mudra and welcome our honorable speaker, His Holiness Sri Hariprasad Swamiji. Welcome, Ji. Over to you.
Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. With the grace of my Guru, Sri Sadguru Swami Jnanananda Saraswati, I will be explaining about this topic given to me, and I will be speaking not from the perspective of a person who's learned in the Shastras or from books, but from my own experience on the spiritual path, what the words of my Guru and what I have seen myself. So before anything starts, we have a Dhayana sloka. So Miss Vaishnavi Ramdas is also logged in here. So if Premi, you can mute her, she will sing Brahmanandam.
Nilushi?
Vaishnavi please sing Brahmanandam. Vaishnavi Ramdas, she's logged in as Vaishnavi Ramdas.
Okay, found her.
Pranam Shri Sadguru Ma, Pranam Swamiji. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim. Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tatvamasyadilaksham. Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tatvamasyadilaksham. Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam. Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam. Bhavatitam त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Pranams to Sri Satguru. Pranams Swami.
Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Now, Japa, Kirtana, and Ishwara Pranidana. Japa is the repetition, the recitation of the names of God or any mantra. Kirtana is singing the praise of God. Not that he wants to be praised, but that when we are singing about him, his different qualities are mentioned. It has a twofold effect. One is, if we know the meaning, it reminds us of his glory. If we don't know the meaning also, we connect it with him. And there is a Shakti behind all these names of God, which helps us and takes us on. That Ishwara Pranidana is surrender to Bhagavan or Bhagavati. Hinduism is quite liberated in that aspect. And I think there are more people who pray to the goddess than to God. Now, to come back to this subject, we must understand that the Hindu Dharma understands that people are of different types, of different levels. And there are prayers for all types of people in the Vedas, in the Shastras. Now, many people have a complaint about Hinduism that there's no one single book, there's no one single God, there's no one single prayer. For example, the Muslims have that prayer saying that there's no God but Allah. The Christians have what they call the Lord's Prayer, and so on. But the Hindus don't have any particular prayer like that. They pray according to their nature. According to their nature, they pray to God. And they understand that in whichever way we seek Him, in that way He comes to us. That's that wonderful verse in the Gita. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama vartam anuvartante manushya parthasam. In whichever way men approach me, or human beings approach me, in that way do I fulfill them. It is my way, Partha, that all people, any way belongs to him. So he is immensely inclusive. He is immensely inclusive. He includes, there's nobody who is somebody anya or other from him. Everyone is his. That love which he showed Sudama, that love and kindness and affection which he had for him, he also had for Kamsa's wives. His uncle Kamsa, an evil man, had on numerous occasions tried to kill Sri Krishna. But that was Sri Krishna's love, that when he saw Kamsa's wives sitting around the body of their husband and crying, he looked at them, saw their sorrow, and started crying too. So we see Sri Krishna, his example is what is the quintessence of Hinduism. That in any way, in every way, we can follow, seek God and attain Him. So God comes in all forms, whichever way we seek Him. But these forms which are known to us are forms which have been created by the rishis, in which the glory of Bhagavan and Bhagavati are manifest. Sri Devi comes in so many ways in our lives. We just look for her and find her in so many ways. But we should look for her. If we think she's going to come with a pot of gold and a lotus in her hand, it's not like that. It's with our character, our nature that brings her down. Now, that is something we'll talk about later, bringing of God down into our lives. But Japa is the repetition of God's name, repetition of a mantra. It can be for any purpose. It can be for any purpose. And it is the channelizing of the mental energies, the Shakti, which has its goal in mantra chanting, in Japa. So through the mind, in so many ways, the Japa happens. Sometimes it happens unconsciously. In the case of very great saints, constantly the Japa is happening. In some cases, it happens consciously. The concentrated mind, yogis sit and meditate. Some of us, we are careless. We meditate well some days, we don't meditate well some days. It changes according to our circumstance. So, japas are of various qualities and for various causes also. The intention of that prayer, that puja, is generally, if we have a formal puja, then we will have a sankalpa in the beginning. Sankalpa is an idea of what we want to do. It's in today's world, they'll say it's a vision statement of what our prayers are going to be like. And we plan how we are going to do them. What is the prayer? Where we are? Who is the person doing the prayer? All that is there. But in a daily japa, we don't have to do anything like that. It's an absolutely bipolar relationship. On one pole, God is there. On one pole, we are there. There's nobody else in our japa. And as we do japa, we get closer to Him. Now, there are japas for gaining things. When we want to achieve a goal, we do a particular japa. When we want to break through obstacles, we do another japa. See, for example, in most popular picture we have is of Ganesha in the middle with Lakshmi on one side and Saraswati on the other, because everybody wants knowledge, everybody wants wealth, and everybody wants the obstacles to be removed. So we have mantras for ordinary purposes, like how we pray to God. We pray to God when we have difficulties, we ask Him to come and help us. And then we have also the other type of japa, which is out of love of God. We want to attain Him, we want to understand Him, we want to reach. So for that, our minds we concentrate, then we do japa. So when we do japa, we receive a mantra generally from a guru. We may also receive a mantra from a book by a guru. We may receive a mantra from a priest in a temple or from an astrologer. They may say this mantra, that's good for you. Or they may say, for your character, this is the deity which suits you. But normally, the Devata, we have the Kula Devata, the Devata prayed to, who presides over our families. We have the family puja, which normally we are attached to, which the whole family is attached to or connected with. And then the Ishta Devata, what Swami Vivekananda translated as the chosen ideal, the God which lives in our heart and whom we resort to at all times. So when we close eyes, we see the Ishta Devata. When we think of, say God, when we say the word God, it reminds us of the Ishta Devata. So the mantra, the Ishta Devata, is quite simple. The mantra for achieving things also is quite simple. The main thing is the concentration that you bring to it. And just a minute. Narayana, Narayana. So when we say that mantra, we say it with concentration. Whether it is a Kamyartha is with a desire as the focus. I must pass the exam. For that, I'm doing this japa, I'm doing this prayer. It's a Kamyartha prayer. But the prayer which is for attaining God's feet, then we do that mantra. It is not Kamyartha. It is Nishkamya, without it. And I seek God for His sake, or I seek God for liberation, for moksha. These are all Nishkamya japa. But regardless of whether it is Nishkamya or Sakamya, whether it is with a desire and a motive, or without a desire and a motive, a meditation or a dhyana, when it is done, it takes us closer to God. Because I'm not going to be textual, I'm not going to quote verses. I'll tell you, there's a saying that a person who thinks of God, of Govinda, he gets drawn, even if he's an evil person, if he thinks of Govinda, he gets drawn to him. Just like how if unintentionally we touch the fire, we get burnt. So if even if an evil person, it's an evil person, thinks of God, of Bhagavan, he's drawn to. So I think of God because I want to pass the exam. I think of God because I want to go close to Him. I think of God because I don't want to be born again. 3 levels. But all thinking of God, that's the main thing. So you get drawn closer and closer. My Guru, Swami Ananda Saraswati, was for most of the time in meditation. But she used to occasionally see people. And for a period, for every Sunday, she used to give a discourse. And there was one person who used to come there. He was always in need of some worldly things. And then after that, he would somehow endure the discourse and then come and ask, I got this problem, I got that problem, bless me. And if it would happen, he would get it. So I told Sadhguru, what this man is so disgusting. He's just somehow listening to the discourse and then comes and asks for worldly blessings. Sadhguru said, have you noticed I never talk with him until the discourse is over? Because if I talk with him before that, he'll go off without hearing the discourse. But he's hearing those discourses and God will slowly enter his heart. And sure enough, after some years when I saw that person, he said, I've settled my children. Now I'm living in an ashram and looking after poor children. So this is how Japa helps. This is how the name of God helps. This is how the blessing of a great person helps. So when we think of Japa, I will now talk about the ways in which we can do Japa. Then I will talk about Kirtana. Then we will have a small examples of what is Kirtana. Then after that, I'll give you what my Guru taught. A scheme for prayer, for Japa, Kirtana and Dhyana and Parayana, which takes you towards God. And also the philosophical basis of these things. Because there is a tendency among people who consider themselves to be intellectual to say that bhakti is very good for the ordinary person, but for highly intellectual people like me, I don't need to pray to God. I don't need to bow before Him. I just sit and think about it. For you to sit and think about Him and contemplate, your mind has to be trained. For that, Japa is required. For that, Kirtana is required. For that, Ishwara Pranidana. Surrender to the Lord, that is required. So, we must work on this just like we work for worldly goals. So, Japa, when we sit down in our seat for Japa, we must try to leave the world out. That's why they say get up early morning and meditate, because the sounds of the world don't come to us. The sounds of the world don't disturb us. We are we think, alone with God. But we are not really alone with God because our minds are there. And in our mind, there are so many people, so many things happening. And all that is the world. We are going to sit before God, doing our japa, doing our dhyana, and our minds go onto the things that I will be doing today. What should I be doing today? It would be more honest to leave the japa. Write your to-do list for all these things I will do. Fold it up, keep it there, keep those things with that, and then come back and sit with a clear mind. If you're going to be thinking about the things that happened yesterday, when if you're going to review the previous day when you're meditating, you might as well not sit there. When you are sitting down for meditation, you are leaving the world behind. That is something which you. If you're going to be half here, half there, then God will be half in Vaikuntha and half with you. Many people say, no, I do my japa while I'm going to the office, while I'm cleaning the kitchen, I do my japa. Do japa when you're going to the office. Do japa when you're cleaning the kitchen. Very good. That's something which is wonderful. But there must be some time kept exclusively for japa, which is exclusively for God. See, now suppose you are going to be in a meeting with somebody. And during that time, if you're going to be checking your messages, during that time, if you're going to be reading your mail, he'd say, you finish that and then we'll talk after that. We'll wait. But when we are giving that respect to somebody else, when they come to the house, we won't be doing the kitchen work and talking with them. When they come to the house, we won't be driving on the way to office and talking with them. We give them all the attention. They are important people, so we give them that importance. Does God deserve that also? Doesn't he deserve some little exclusive time for himself? So we must keep that time for japa exclusive and keep that time for japa to be spent with a concentrated mind, to be spent with a mind that does not go running here and there and everywhere. The Upanishads compare the mind to an unrestrained stray dog. It goes here, it goes there, goes here, goes there, goes, and winds up with the dustbin. But Sadhguru said, that same dog, if you take it home, bathe it, clean it, and train it, it will walk along with you. It will not run away. So Sadhguru said, the mind is a stray dog. Then you make it into a fine dog. Make it into a fine dog that will always be walking along with you. So we must therefore look for ways in which we can keep our mind back onto God's feet when we start the japa. Something comes. There's a doorbell. There's a phone which rings. We can't. During a conference, during a meeting, during a party, even keep answering phone calls. We have to We have to follow what the people are speaking. Otherwise, they won't have us there. So similarly, when we are sitting with God, then we must keep our minds on God also. We must give him that importance which we would give a guest in the drawing room. We would give to a speaker in a conference. We would give to friends in a party. So that is the main thing about Japa. Now you must be wondering why this man is talking about everything except Japa. I mean, he's not going on to meditation, he's not going on to these things. But unless, I put the foundation, you're not going to be able to follow. So when you do Japa, there are many ways. You can count with your fingers. You can count